Peace, everybody. Want to say peace to everyone is here. Glad I already see some folks have joined us. Make sure if you're watching this right now, whether you're watching it live or watching the replay, make sure you hit the like and share button. Before we get started, though, I just want to say a few things. First off, I rise giving the highest praise to the Most High Creator, our Father God Allah. I extend honors to our divine prophet, Noble Drew Ali, for bringing us our divine creed and nationality so that we may learn to love instead of hate. Also extend honors to the forerunner to the prophet, our brother Marcus Mosiah Garvey. I extend honors to all the faithful Moors, all the members of the Moorish Temple of America. And you know what? I also extend honors to all light bringers watching this right now, regardless of your creed, ethnicity, whatever. Honors to all you light bringers, and honors to you all for hitting the like and share button. Good evening. You're listening to the True and Living Lightbringer, Moors in America. As always, I'm your brother, Lloyd Douglas L., also known as Sharif Ali. Here on Moors in America, we are uncovering and bringing glorious light to all issues pertinent to the Moorish American paradigm, because that's what we do here. And I hope you're having a wonderful evening. Today, we're going to be speaking with a great brother Durrell Kinsey Bey. Our brother's running for mayor in Portland, Oregon. And so it's our great pleasure to speak with this brother. Once again, I want everyone to hit like and share so you show your support. Definitely listen in, tag your friends, tag your family. We're going to go ahead and get things started up. We're not going to take too long. We're going to go ahead and bring the brother in now so Morris don't go anywhere. Hit the like and share button, everybody. Peace. All right, peace, people. Today we have our brother Kinsey Bey on with us. We cover the entire Moorish paradigm here, so there's no way we can do this if we're not speaking to our brother. We have a brother who's out there in Portland, out there on the West Coast, out there in the rainy country. Correct me if I'm wrong, but out there where it rains a lot, who's running for mayor. So we definitely want to speak to this brother, see what issues he's addressing, what his platform is, what he stands on, and definitely want to bring this to the family, not just the family in Washington, in that area, but just across the nation, period. So this is our pleasure to have you on today, brother. Want to welcome you to the platform, brother. Peace and love. Brother, please tell us more about yourself.
Peace and love, brother. Peace and love. Can you hear me well?
Islam, brother, can hear you loud and clear.
Right on, right on. Yeah, so Durrell Javon Kinsey Bey. I was born in Kennewick, Washington, Washington State, Monday, December 20th, 1993. I am so happy to have this opportunity to be on your show. Your production is outstanding, and I am amazed by what you presented for the intro. This is great. Thank you, brother.
Man, Islam, gratitude, brother, gratitude. And just once again, it's a pleasure to have you on here, brother. So just in general, so you are from the Washington area, you're from that Pacific Northwest region. And just to fill the family in, let us know, please, where you're exactly where you're at and what office you're running for, and just give us some background on you, brother.
Right on. So I live in East Portland. It's not no longer a town or a city. It has been incorporated into city of Portland. Um, I think the last 100 years or so. And so those of you who are from Portland, you know I'm East Portland when I say I'm in the numbers. I live at 162nd and Stark, and I'm in the Centennial neighborhood. Um, I'm running for the office for mayor for the city of Portland, Oregon.
All right, Islam, brother. Just to ask a little bit more about you now, I read on your website that you're an educator and a father, a husband, and also a farmer, brother. Please let us know a little bit more about you and your family. And it's interesting. We don't hear a lot of people anymore saying that they farm. You know, it's kind of hard to, especially in city, urban areas. So please tell us more about yourself.
Yeah, so I moved to Portland, Oregon in 2021. I had been traveling back and forth, spending time with my father, who currently is elected official for the USDA, for the Farming Service Agency. He's on the committee here in Portland, Oregon. And so he has developed a network of farmers and uh, big farmers, I guess you could say, producers in the urban area, and network with different food banks, etc. And so I kind of got an opportunity to learn a little bit about how things operate in this area. And then I began to come here more frequently because I met a young lady who now is my wife. I met her June 2019, just right before COVID. And then I ended up proposing to her the same year in December. And then the following year, we got obligated August 8th, 2020. And she also was in farming because that's where I met her. So that was a beautiful connection that we already had. And she had kind of, been acquainted, with my father prior to us meeting. So that connection there was already kind of had a slow growing foundation, which was beautiful. And obviously now, them both being Aries, they got a lot of fire. So then obviously we got married. Now we have shared 3 children and now a granddaughter. And we are homeowners. We're blessed to have that as a accomplishment. We have a nonprofit that we developed in 2022. It's called the BIPOC Rise More Healing Center. And our mission is to uplift fallen humanity and teach those things necessary to make us better citizens. In regards to the farming, we hit the ground running when we got our home and converted our whole entire yard into a farm, which is a big component to one of my initiatives, which is the socio-ecological infrastructure initiative, to really provide food access and make steps toward food sovereignty here in Portland, Oregon. Of course, having the ability to scale it for it to be across the state of Oregon. And in addition to that, one thing that I wanted to also mention is that I work for a nonprofit called REAP Incorporated. And REAP is a multicultural youth leadership development organization. And they are designed to proactively ignite, elevate, and engage the next wave of leaders for the future now. And I work in the local school district known as David Douglas. And I work in one of the middle schools. And it has been a remarkable experience because I've been working in the school district for almost 4 years now.
All right, Islam, brother. Gratitude for sharing that about yourself, and also gratitude to you for the great work you're doing in the community, especially helping out with the children. Um, Definitely going to talk to you more about the food sovereignty program. So, would you please let us know, like, what led you to running for mayor? or what sparked you to go in that direction in your community?
Right on. So there's many reasons I would say why I decided to run for mayor. Um, but the biggest thing that I would say in the Moorish American community, as well as the Asiatic community, and many other, and even European communities, there's a lot of lack of leadership. And you can lead in different ways and different aspects in life, and I'm aware of that. However, when it comes to the government, government has had not the best uh, energy towards it because of the lack of leadership and the decisions that have been made that have affected and even poisoned the society and the mentality of how people think. And so one of the biggest things I believe is important is to recognize that this city of Portland needs to have a moral compass upliftment program. And so I consider that to be more rejuvenation and healing justice. So I noticed that there was a lack. I realized that there's many people who are having disparaging remarks about the current mayor who's now no longer going to be running next term, according to the report that he made. And it's long overdue to say it's time for a change. It needs to be a whole entire overhaul of adjustments, which is what is important about the new form of government, which is now moving from a non-city manager structure to a non-city manager 5 commissioner structure to a 12 city council structure with a city manager. So it's going to have a lot more support to be able to initiate the voice of the people, especially when it comes to East Portland, where I live, that has been neglected for over 30 years in regards to representation, because those commissioners, they were at-large commissioners, which essentially there was no accountability to any particular constituency in the city. And so it's time for people to have representation and have the opportunity to have a voice without any empty rhetoric nor any performative activism.
Islam, brother, and well stated. And I think like in the press, just for somebody who's in Ohio, like I'm not in Portland. I think we see like a lot of negative press about Portland, just showing conditions there maybe going down and maybe like political unrest. What do you have planned, to work on those issues? And maybe you could better, like more eloquently state like what I'm trying to say, just what people in other areas are seeing.
Yeah. So what we've seen in the past 5 years of Portland is a overflow of an exposure of the mental health crisis that is affecting the whole entire country. Mental health, has always kind of been an issue in our society. It just has been treated differently over the last 100 to 150 years. It went from people just being subjected to certain treacherous acts to kind of figure out what's going on in their brain, which is what we're familiar with the sane asylums and shock therapy, in addition to other things that were done, quite frankly, by the, Nazi party. And so we now are being able to kind of look at the mirror in Portland. Some people, in the event that unfortunately, George Floyd's murder and assassination, if you will, took place, that was kind of a wake-up call for some people in Portland. And what happened was basically some people felt that they needed to do something about it. We obviously were in COVID. They were sitting on their home at their house, not doing anything, and they then basically just started a whole bunch of nonprofits, started engaging in different political activities. Civic engagement was an all-time high, if you will, and of course the marches, as you mentioned, and so the thing is that the frustration's still there. Some of it has, again, like I said, has been performative activism, which simply means that individuals say, we're for, these particular issues like houselessness, recidivism, mental health awareness, youth advocacy. Yet when COVID release, where there was an opportunity for people to go back to work, those initiatives that people were really gung-ho about, they didn't really continue the effort, because it was kind of a more reactionary thing as opposed to a response. And so to answer your question even more so is recognizing that there needs to be a understanding on clear principles, right? Clear principles that one, i.e. myself, stand for and value and will be bringing into office so people can have a clear conception of what it is that I'm here to do, because it's not going to be your stereotypical experience of people that you have been seen in the past in regards to politicians. Because the thing is that, there's a lot of issues that are being avoided and they're being transferred to something else. So we obviously had a racial issue that we still have a racial issue now today, and a negative outlook on those who identify as Black or African American, who we know are descendant of the Moorish people, and that being a constant resistant of kind of making that public has caused a ripple effect in other society that have really.
Hang on, brother. Your audio is freezing up. It looks like your video just froze too. I would say try turning your camera off and then turning it back on. And if that doesn't work, just try leaving the studio and coming back in, because everything just froze up.
Okay.
Islam, we can hear you.
Where did you last hear me?
Okay, so it froze right when you were right after you were speaking about the recidivism, and you were starting to go into how what you stand on. You were saying that basically that you're standing on your principles and you're going to bring that into office. You're going to stand on those principles, and then you started to break up.
Got you, and I'll take it this way and say the four principles, values rather, that my campaign stands for is human rights, social equity, economic optimism, and environmental justice. And so when I look at the society, and there's a constant, I guess you can call it a bombardment or a resistance to those who identify as lesbian, gay, bisexual, transgender, etc. And it seems to be a misguided, platform when people are trying to superimpose that individuals who live a lifestyle are rejecting another lifestyle. And then that's not how it goes. Or if individuals are living a lifestyle and they're proud about their lifestyle, that you're obligated to accept it. And that's not what's being discussed, but that is the I guess you could say the nuance, or even the assumed position. And that's what's causing a lot of resistance among a bunch of different individuals. If you are an individual who is transgender or bisexual, that has nothing to do with your ethnic background, in the sense of you still have an ethnic background, you still have a nationality. So that's why human rights is so important, and recognizing that individuals that identify however they identify, whether I may agree or not, they are still a human being and they deserve dignity and respect. So the point where we start crossing over that line and want to, superimpose that people live a certain lifestyle when we live in a certain type of government structure that doesn't have a particular ideology or religion, it's a grave mistake, and I think that that's important to be expressed.
All right, Islam, brother. Gratitude. Yeah, we need to stand on love and allow people to to live their life or to be them. One thing also that I would like to ask you just about your journey. You also spoke about your background, in the school system. So exactly how long? I think you said 4 to 5 years have you been teaching? Please let us know about that.
Right. So I work for a organization called REAP Incorporated, and that organization is a nonprofit, and that organization sets up contracts with various different school districts. At this point, we're at close to 10 school districts and 30 plus schools. Absolutely, Kareem Bey, tolerance, absolutely. And so, being that that is the case for our organizational structure, we have a module system that we go through. One is program solutions. We have another program which is reflections, which is more like an in-school suspension structure. We have Renaissance, which is essentially for those who are Asiatics and young males in general. And then we have Journey Academy, which is more of a Saturday school, which has computer coding, going to so-called Black studies, and business. So that's the Young Entrepreneurship Program. And then Sojourn is the sixth program. And that program is the so-called Black studies that is offered at the high school in David Douglas. It's David Douglas High School, which is the largest high school campus-wise in the whole entire state of Oregon, and it's the only course that's offered as a language arts credit. So essentially, individuals at the high school that are seniors can learn about African history and get a language arts credit for it, which is very innovative when you think about that being the only high school in the whole state. The founders, Mr. Jackson and Mr. Thomas, they are definitely trendsetters and trailblazers, having founded the organization in 2001. And the organization was an acronym at that time. It has since been adjusted. And it used to be standing for Reaching, Empowering All People. Because again, going back to my original statement about my campaign being human rights, that's what they are talking about and standing for. People, all people should be empowered to be able to self-determine and be able to be a leader in their community. So they also have a school in Mali, Africa, which is a great addition to the growth and development of the organization. And they support a lot of things on the state level in regards to policies and youth advocacy. So that's the biggest thing about REAP, is advocating the youth, giving them a voice, giving them a platform to speak, giving them courage to be able to go to the school boards, go to the state capitol, go to City Hall, go to Multnomah County meetings, go to the regional government that we call Metro out here, and speaking to the struggles and the perspective to give insight to us adults who, for whatever reason, forgot that we used to be children at one time. And that's it's just a groundbreaking organization that many some may know about, and some will soon learn more about, because of the great work that the coworkers of mine and I are doing in Portland metro area.
Yeah, brother, that sounds powerful. Gratitude for sharing that. And yeah, sounds like you're actually doing work, in the community instead of just complaining, about how things are. Why can't we learn about our, culture in the school system? Actually doing something about it. That's beautiful, brother. And gratitude for sharing your measure on that. Um, Now moving back, towards your running for mayor, would you let us know just more in detail about your platform, what you stand on and what you plan to bring to the table?
Right on. So it's building basically the same foundation where I spoke on earlier, which is moral rejuvenation and healing justice. That is the nucleus to every single thing that gets produced from it. Because if you, as a leader and an individual that is in a community, don't have a moral compass to develop and cultivate integrity, you're not going to make good quality decisions, and the individuals around you will be poisoned by your stinking thinking. And so, again, I don't want to, sound like I'm, repeating myself, but it is important that my foundation of my platform is predicated off of moral rejuvenation and healing justice. Now, what that looks like is as follows. I have an initiative called family-based public health. And so when we're dealing with public health, the county in particular is responsible for public health. However, I think it's very important that the city work on doubling down in regards to public health, because public health not only is dealing with mental health, it's also dealing with the environment in which individuals such as children deal with on a day-to-day basis in their home environment. And some of those home environments are not healthy, nor are they safe for the children. And we're not talking about, taking families or splitting families up. We're talking about providing support, giving them tools, giving them words of encouragement, words of affirmation, and equipping them to be able to withstand some of the stresses that life may provide. And then, in addition to that, those who are going to school, such as middle schoolers or high schoolers, they have issues that they deal with at the school. And so you already have an issue dealing with the house, the home environment, whether you may be short on food, where your parents, don't have a lot of money. So you come to school and you don't have the best clothes. And, people will tease you. They'll bully you. They'll put you on TikTok. They'll do all this, a bunch of terrible things, to be honest. And so that affects how the student and their mental health is, and it affects public health, because if those individual students come to school with that anger and frustration and they bring it out on students or teachers or admin, then we have a serious problem. And it's important that we have preventative measures for that. Secondly, we have community-based public health, or community-based public safety. And community-based public safety is inspired by Mayor Ras Baraka in Newark, New Jersey, who I believe is now running for governor. And he established Newark Street Team, Community Street Team. And that organization is built in the confines of the city government. And he designed it that way so that it will not falter based off of his absence. And so there's a similar entity that the city has cultivated, and it's called Portland Street Response. And Portland Street Response is kind of the liaison between those who may be in mental health crisis and the police officers. So, as I mentioned, we had a conversation, I think last week, you and I were talking about the 988 number. It was suicide hotline. Again, 988 is a suicide crisis line where you having any type of crisis or any type of struggles mentally. That is a number that you can call actively right now and be able to get the support that you need. And so that's a little small shout out to that program, because it's developed in development and developing. And obviously they need a lot more support than what's available.
Yeah, that was my first time hearing about it, brother. Please continue.
Absolutely. And so when it comes to the community, or the communities that are within the neighborhood associations, I would like to cultivate a structure where Portland Street Response is expounded upon, and it's kind of not integrated, but essentially coalesce with the neighborhood associations, so that way those resources like community emergency response teams as well can be, or called CERTs, they can be integrated together. So not only are you providing upliftment and some say resilience, but you're creating an environment for resilience for communities and neighborhoods to thrive, right? Because we've been, in a situation for far too long in the form of resilience, and that time is over. We have to be getting to another level where we're doing more thriving than just, being resilient. It's an overused word, and thriving is where we need to be.
Islam, brother. And gratitude for sharing. Now I would like to speak to you more about the food sovereignty program, or your ideas on that. Would you please embellish on that topic, brother?
Yeah. So food sovereignty is a very, very massive ideal, because I don't think anywhere on the planet, from my limited research, has it been materialized. It's an ideal as far as I'm concerned until further notice. So food access and food security is kind of the steps that we want to strive towards to be able to reimagine this food sovereignty. With that being said, though, it's a few components. One, we want to eradicate grass. Um, we want to convert yards into farms. I think that far too long we've been led to believe that a white house with a white picket fence and the grass with the lawn and the sprinklers and everything else is the American dream, etc. Although individuals may like that. However, when it comes to initiating a change in the dynamics of this inflation that we are bombarded with, we have to think of self-sufficiency, self-reliance, and self-determination. So if we can have the ability to put the control of the food in our own hands, we will be in good hands, because we'll be in our own hands. We'll have the control. We will not be at the whim of major corporations dictating who they may want to sell to, when they want to sell food, and where they get that food from. And so it's best to always remain local. That's been something that has kind of been dwindling away because of the agrarian cultures were kind of subsiding, and the agrarian philosophy has kind of been eradicated out of some of the minds of the people. And then they began to do monocropping. Monocropping is essentially doing one crop, all corn for acres and acres and acres, or all potatoes, all onions, and that's kind of outdated. And so companion planting is something that adds a little bit more luster to the soil and the ecosystem that is presented before us when it comes to these community gardens that have been initiated all throughout the city. And now this showcasing of utilizing my home farm to show the city of how it can be done.
Brother, if I could just stop you right there, don't forget your train of thought. You're speaking about urban farming. Now, with some of the things that you're saying, just about monocropping, just growing one crop, of course, that takes nutrients from the soil, which if we're not growing crops, we don't know. After a couple of years, that soil's almost dead, and maybe you have to plant another type of crop to replenish it, or you just have to let it, grow wild so that it could replenish itself. And so the things that you're saying, these are things that a lot of our people, when I say our people, meaning those, classified as Black, African American, we would say Moorish American, right? Asiatics. A lot of our people knew this stuff even just, 2 generations ago. So even going
Yeah.
back into the 1950s and 1940s, even though a lot of our people were starting to move out of the rural areas, out of farms into cities, they still knew this. And I'm just looking at myself, and I'm sure a lot of people can relate. Our grandparents, they were in neighborhoods, right? Right, in cities, if they weren't living still in the country, and they were still growing crops in the backyard. And everybody on the block could just trade crops with each other. Say, oh yeah, you want to get
Right.
some cabbage? Go on back there and get some cabbage. Then you go over to the neighbors to get something else. And so they knew these things and knew about, okay, well, I need to put some peanuts with this because that's going to replenish the soil. And these are things that we're not knowing anymore. And we had a conversation on the side. I was telling you, my neighbor actually ran for mayor and won, right? And he
Yeah.
was talking about one of the things he wanted to bring back to this community was they had um a farming program in the schools, like even in the high school. And it was going on, I think, up until the 80s. So even in
Wow.
the public school system, the children or teenagers are learning about farming and how it works and what to do, why we need to grow our own food, learning all that stuff. And of course, it's gone. We don't even know it now. We eating Pringles chips and all this other garbage. So I just wanted to, just to add that to the measure. Maybe you can share your thoughts on that. And just didn't want to take you from your train of thought though. You were talking about urban farming, and I yield the floor, brother.
Oh yeah. I mean, you're on point. I mean, a lot of things are so interconnected that it baffles me that there's not a more concerted effort to make this a reality. I think the complacency has caused us to be vulnerable to other corporations from other states or even other countries that are providing food for us to be able to eat when we have a whole bunch of acres surrounding the city and in the city
Yeah,
available
yeah,
for us to have food. And again, the companion planting, what I was getting into earlier, you can have potentially greater yields with a smaller space. For example, carrots, beets, onions, they can go together. Basil, you could have a vertical farming structure where you
okay,
have a little fence, and you could have some beans running up there. You could have some tomatoes, I believe, and then you could have some basil. So you have the tomatoes, boom, and then you have the basil, and then you have the beans running up the fencing. Um, Now you're having three different crops in one area. So doing this, again, you do the opposite of what monocropping does for the bio life within the soil. The microbials is what I was trying to get to. That you know builds up the strength of the mycelium network within the soil, and that adds value to the food, which is nourishment to the body. So in other words, you could probably, I mean, this is just like a speculation, but like an example, you take
those
one
again,
bell.
brother.
Say it again.
You might want to try turning your camera off and on again. Is that worked before? You froze twice while you were talking.
All right.
Now,
How's it now?
real quick, you were just speaking about the different crops you can grow together, to add more to the soil. And yeah, just while you pause, I just want to tell everybody like this should be of the utmost importance to us all, right? Just at a basic level, I mean, going to the grocery store, you see the prices are going up. It doesn't really matter how much money you're making. You could be well off. You still see the prices are rising. I mean, unless you're so rich that you have like your maids and servants going to get your food for you. So for everyone else, right? we see the prices going up. Like we should be listening, and if we're not already starting to grow our own food and looking in this direction, we should be starting to do that now. Islam, brother, I yield the floor.
All right, can you hear me well?
Yes, sir.
Okay, cool. Yeah, so essentially, it's like you take one bell pepper that may have come from California or maybe Texas, and that same bell pepper could potentially give you less nourishment than the bell pepper that you would be having locally grown, right out your backyard. So those, it's just important to be mindful about what it is that is present, because we are finding too many avenues, again, like I was getting to earlier, is where manipulation is inevitable. And what I mean by manipulation is inevitable, I'm saying that the less that we add value to our youth, being able to learn and know just what a tomato is, what a jalapeno is, what this actually does for your body, what vitamins are in the vegetable, what things that it can assist with, like ailments, what can be the aftermarket product and what it could be produced as, when it comes to fermentation, the fermentation process for creating a hot sauce, right? So we're going from simply just like a hobby to now food production, and then now aftermarket products, where you're now taking the students on a Saturday or in the evening times, or even other community members that are assisting the school with plant sales and food production, to be able to then sell to other people in the community or other communities where you may be doing exchanges, where they say, oh, well, we'll trade X amount of bell pepper for X amount of onions. We'll trade an X amount of beets for a certain amount of potatoes, sweet potatoes, kale, collards, lima beans. These are different aspects of, the agrarian lifestyle that we're not obligated to get to, yet we are almost going to be forced to get to this lifestyle by default. So it might as well be something that we get used to now before we're really, really forced to make those changes.
Yeah, because I think people saw that just with the thing that happened back in 2020, where you're going to the store and there's some things that aren't on the shelves anymore, you know, and it might have been toilet paper or just a few food items here and there, but that stuff was just like a trial run, for the whole nation. And so, yeah, why not get started now instead of waiting until it's too late? Or and you're doing things out of fear. We could
See,
get
and
the experience and stuff now.
absolutely. And I mean, think about it. People eat food everywhere. Like, this is not something that's like a catchy idea. People already are eating food. And the problem is that there's food shortages in different places based off of the decisions that people make and the lack of efficiency. They're just simply just throwing a bunch of rows and destroying the soil and then planting some seeds down, and it's destroying the whole entire environment, let alone just the soil. And then the mindset behind it is all based off of profit. Yet we have people that should be above the concept of profiting off the people. You also want to be able to give people resources so they can actually do some trade or even implement themselves into the barter system.
Yes. And I'm so glad you're standing on this. It's really important. Obviously, we all eat, everybody eats, whether you eat once a day or once every other day, or like most people eat, 3 times a day. We need nourishment. And so it's of the utmost importance. And yeah, this is definitely something that, and I like what you're doing because it has to be done at a community level because it's not even really just good enough if, hey, well, I'm, growing my food and I live off the grid or whatever you're trying to do is it's like, well, okay, if things get tough for the community, you're also going to have people that's going to be desperate and they're going to be coming for what you got, so there has to be some education and some love and some work being done, to try to push things in the right direction at a community level, you know and yeah, so I really appreciate that, and I definitely want to get the word out there. I think the people in your community and all across the country need to listen. Want to see you get it implemented there so that you can show how it's done. Because yeah, I like what you're doing. If you don't see the work being done, you got to step up and maybe you're the one to help get it done. But I hope I didn't cut you off, brother. Please continue.
You're good, man. All politics is local, and I think what I've noticed is that some aspects of our society here in Portland are really reliant on the national leadership of the government, of the national government. And the thing is that cities are very vulnerable when they don't have something that they produce to create a demand for the surrounding cities and or counties and or other states, because you have to be able to be in a position where you can produce something. You have something that you can kind of hedge against inflation, in addition to acquiring more gold and silver for a city government. Some people, I think, don't really realize what is actually taking place on a national and global level. Like a lot of Moors, like we've been known about some stuff because Noble Drew Ali talked about it years ago. But to realize that we have to act a lot quicker than we have been, and we're like 10, maybe 15 years behind on so many different aspects of life. Food, clothing, and shelter is the foundational components to being a human, and not every place in the United States, let alone the world, is meeting those three fundamental necessities of human life. The city should be able to work with the county, work with the regional government, work with the state, and have the city, such as Portland, which is kind of like Chicago, Illinois, being that it's kind of like a national or a state capital without the credentials, if you will, of being a capital, because the capital is actually in Salem. But politics in Portland dictates the politics in the whole entire state, which is why there's been a lot of pushback to individuals in the greater Idaho movement that want to separate entirely from Oregon and leave to Idaho. So, like I said earlier in the beginning of my speaking, that the human dignity has to be brought back to the forefront. And instead of saying, oh, you're a liberal, oh, you're a conservative, oh, you're a Republican, oh, you're a Democrat, I don't like you. Oh, you're a Green Party, or oh, you're a Democratic Socialist of America, or oh, you're a Libertarian, I don't like you, etc., etc. We have to recognize that in the event that a foreign power came here with their tankers, with their agents, with their brute force to eradicate all American citizens, your argument about which party you're part of is not going to be an argument that's relevant. So there's some things that we just have to readjust in our thinking, and that starts with a moral compass. Hence why I keep going back to moral rejuvenation and healing justice, because we have to heal in our minds and our thinking, our processing system, how we talk to our significant others, how we talk to our children. I mean, charity, we know, starts at home. And we have to bear witness and bear in mind that this is vital to our survival as a human race globally. This is not just a Portland issue. If people don't take heed to these words that are being espoused and have been espoused for many, many decades, I don't know what to say. I know that it's important that I find food for my family to be able to be self-sustained, to not have to rely on any grocery store, and then teach others to do the same. Like that reminds me of our Where to Start program in our nonprofit. We cover 4 different components: financial intelligence, civic engagement, health and wellness, and agripreneurship. So, like, these things are human necessities. That's, I mean, what else that man needed to know?
Yeah, definitely. I agree with everything you're saying, brother. And I think it's of the utmost importance. And I'm not just saying that. I mean, what you're standing on, man. It sounds like the people of Portland really could use a leader like you. I'm glad you came on this platform to share.
Yes,
Um,
thank you for
you know, uh,
inviting me.
oh yeah, brother. And I would say before we close things out, please, if there's any words you would like to share. Well, you know what? Before we do that, please let people know how they can support. How to whether they're in your area or not. Let people know how they can support your candidacy, please.
Right on. So I've seen a few different Moors in the chat that I talked to social media over the years. I would really appreciate you, Moors, if you could first one share my information, constantly share it. Hopefully, maybe weekly, if not daily. Share it, share it, share it to your friends and family, and those who live in Portland, please do the same. But more particularly, donate at least $5 to the campaign. It gets matched by the city 9-1, all the way up to $20. And the max that you can donate to my campaign on an individual donation level is $350, which is a lot for some, is not a lot for others. But more importantly, it's something that you can continuously donate $5 and some change all the way up to $350 come up November. So it's not something that is a burden. You can kind of periodically chip in some change throughout the journey of supporting me in the campaign. Those of you who know individuals who have bigger pockets, reach out to them. They can support me in my campaign anywhere in the United States of America. We take in-kind donations, and there's loan structures that we can kind of assist individual entities with that can help guide the trajectory of successful campaign to be able to get more marketing out, as well as hiring individuals, especially the youth, for them to be able to get experience and inside scoop of what it takes to run a city. And yeah, www.Durrell, Durrell, 4FOR, Mayor, MAYOR.com. Durrellformayor.com. And please feel free to call me if you need, 509-406-4853, or you could text me, 509-406-4853.
All right, Islam, and for the donations, you were saying the city matches the donations up to or they match them times 9. Is
Nine
that
to
for
one.
anyone, or is that just for people in Portland?
That's just for people in Portland. So that's the small caveat. But I did get a brother who you may know, who loves the show, Brother Kinnick L. The True American Citizens Political Action Committee has endorsed my campaign and is going to be pledging some finance, which I will not disclose yet, but they'll be pledging finance to my campaign, but they have endorsed my campaign. So True American Citizens Political Action Committee, organized by Brother Kinnick L. from Virginia Beach, Virginia.
All right, that's beautiful, beautiful. And okay, brother, in closing, was there anything that you would like to share with us?
I would say more than anything, beyond the finance, is spread the word, because I believe, I know Brother Sharif Aniel Bey, he mentioned that Khalid Bey had ran for city council and won, and then ran for mayor. But to my understanding, Brother Khalid Bey is not a member of the Moorish Central America. And I had made a statement basically saying, the first Moorish American Muslim, that I know of, that has run for mayor in the history of the United States. And if I'm wrong, please, correct me. But it's very few of us. And it's time to just make history at the end of the day. Even if I'm the 19th or the 8th or whatever, it's time to make history, especially being the first Moorish American, for sure, bar none, in the state of Oregon that has run for political office. Let's just make history. Let's give me an office and let's duplicate the process across the country to better our society as a whole.
All right, Brother Islam. Well said. I'm with you there. Everybody, the brother's information is in the chat and also in the video description. Go to www.durrell4mayor.com. Make sure you go there, check out the brother's websites, share it, and also support. As the brother said, you can send donations periodically throughout the rest of the campaign. So please support the brother. And we wish you the best of luck and success in your endeavors. And we're going to go ahead and close things out, Morris. But before we do, just want to ask everyone to like and share this video if you have not done so. Peace and love, brothers. Thank you for coming on, brother.
Thank you, Brother Douglas L. Appreciate you.
All right. Peace.
Peace.
Every day, billions of searches are conducted online, therefore it is critical that your company stands out to the small percentage of clients who are essential to your business. Our team of local digital marketing consultants and SEO experts is eager to help your company achieve its goals through a consultative approach, top Google rankings, and collaboration with industry experts. Here at Adept Marketing Solutions, we stand for integrity, dedication, ingenuity, and results. We know how to navigate the ever-changing digital landscape and what brands must do to succeed. Visit our website to see what we can do to help you reach your goals.
CareMore is a non-profit organization focused on providing goods and services to families and individuals in our underfunded communities in Central Ohio. We have created an online presence to reach members of our Central Ohio communities, as well as local events and meetings to give away supplies and donations throughout the city all year long. Visit our website to learn more and to send a donation.
Highest quality handmade fezzes. Crafted fez with the finest wool, complete with tassel and leather sweatband. Wear the national headdress of Moorish Americans with pride and respect. 3XL size fez is a comfortable fit for brothers with dreadlocks. Shipping worldwide. Go to moorishfez.com to order.
Don't let your history start at slavery. Join with Moorish Science Temple, a lawfully chartered Islamic organization, and proclaim your nationality while helping us uplift fallen humanity. Founded by American prophet Noble Drew Ali and consistently promoted plans for the betterment of humankind. We are located in Columbus, Ohio. Visit our website www.moorishamericans.com and follow us on social media. We hold live meetings on Zoom every Friday and Sunday at 7 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. Give us a call at 614-407-4394 if you would like to join or send donations to help us uplift fallen humanity.
Fez Caps blends Moorish style with modern streetwear hats. The cutting-edge design features Moorish symbols with a silk tassel on the dome of the cap. More than just a fashion statement, Fez Caps represents something powerful and ancient within you. Go to fezcaps.com to order your Fez Cap now.